When was the last time a hurricane made direct landfall in?
The last time that a hurricane made direct landfall of hurricane strength, well, we had a strong hurricane in Hurricane Iniki in 1992, hit the south shore of Kauai. That's probably the most notable. We did have quite a bit of damage with Hurricane Isel as it moved into the southeastern portion of the Big Island. Did quite a bit of damage in the Puna district of the Big Island. That was the last strong storm. We've had weaker tropical storms making landfall since then.
I have another question asking about storm surge. There's no reference to storm surge in the latest hazards affecting land statement. So is storm surge not a threat for this storm? If so, why or why not?
Storm surge could be a threat with this storm. At this time, we're still assessing what that threat might be. That said, anytime we have strong winds blowing onshore, anytime we have these very big swells, these big waves bringing breaking wave action towards the coast, that is when we have the conditions favorable for storm surge. So we'll continue to assess those areas as well. Storm surges really strongly depend on the movement of the storm, and so we'll be able to give you a better idea as we get closer to the event.
Great. We have another question asking about the terrain and wind gusts over it. And how does this compare to winds that we would see around the eye wall?
Anytime winds blow over the terrain, there's an acceleration effect. So that effect from terrain is independent of the winds that you see in the circulation in the center of a tropical cyclone. And we've seen where these very strong hurricanes are heavily impacted when they interact with land. And so the tightly packed circulation around the center of the hurricane, it can be easily disrupted when it reaches an area of land. That being said, if you have a very strong hurricane, you're producing a very big vacuum effect into the center of the storm, and that's when the winds can accelerate over the terrain and become even stronger. And it really heavily depends on the direction of the wind in comparison to the orientation of the mountains. Those are impacts that will be situational depending on where the center of Douglas goes.
All right, looks like we have one more question that's come in and saying that the State Department of Transportation is advising of wave and wind action. What other area of vulnerabilities exist in Maui County, given what you know about Douglas?
All the vulnerabilities are very similar across the state at this point, and that's just the degree of uncertainty that we still have on the exact track of Douglas. So I think that what we want to do is be prepared for the worst possible conditions that would be associated if Douglas made a direct impact. In the case of the question for Maui County, if there's a direct impact in Maui County or Maui Island, they could see all of those conditions happening at the same time. And that's what's so dangerous about these hurricanes, is that you don't just see the heavy rainfall, but on top of that, you can see very strong winds. And on top of that, you can see pounding surf and storm surge. And so all of these layered impacts is what makes a hurricane as dangerous as it is. And you need to be prepared for all of those possibilities. Again, if the hurricane tracks further away from land, we don't see that severe of conditions. But if you're prepared for those conditions to come to your location, then you're better off if they don't ever make it.